that kind of ended quickly, I guess. Welcome, everybody, to the Ref Room. I am Scott Smokin Silz. Yeah, I changed the music out on that the other day. And along with our referee-in-chief, Brad Baumruck. Glad you guys are here on a beautiful day in Chicago, Eclipse Day. Hopefully you got out and checked it out, everybody. I know I got out for a couple minutes, and neighbors loaned me one of their pairs of glasses to check it out. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it would go dark. Something. I will tell you, it got cold here. Definitely got cold.
It dropped 4 degrees temperature-wise when it happened. So, like, I could tell in my room here because I had the window open, and all the sun was gone. And it was dark, and it got colder in this room right away. I was like,
it felt more than 4 degrees over here. I'm going to tell you that right now because it got cool. You needed a jacket out there for that, but I don't know. It was cool. Anyway, it was cool, and it was cool. So. There you go. No pun intended.
Somebody I saw on social media, they put on there, they're like, hey, just in case anybody missed the eclipse today, look out your window at about 8:15 tonight. They'll have it on replay every night for the rest of the summer. I was like, oh, well, okay, I got it. That was at least amusing. I get it, though. I know we had quite a few neighbors out, but I was busy. Yeah. I didn't get outside.
Well, I live across from a school, so, like, all the kids were out there. The parents were out there. The park was full. It was kind of cool. I mean, everybody, doing their thing and getting outside. And again, what a gorgeous day. I mean, we haven't had a day like this in a while, so it was a good one to be out for. So that's basically it. All right, that does the show. That's it. Thanks for joining
us. Have a good day.
Now, we're going to talk today a little bit about zero tolerance because it's something that has been on a lot of people's minds. And I know that there was a little bit of a push earlier this year. We saw some Facebook postings and things with regard to zero tolerance. And I think you had mentioned there was a little bit more in detail, that took place at the USA Hockey Conference. So that would be a good time to kind of catch up on a few of these things. We're in spring season now and, just really getting started with spring season. So it's probably a good reminder. More so for the coming fall, but this is something to keep in the back of your mind anyway. So we're going to cover.
One thing that I can say about spring, since you're emphasizing spring, spring is the kind of time to where you get to meet coaches, if that makes sense. You get to see what kind of people they are outside of the psychotics sometimes that you deal with. So take advantage of that. Get to know them. You can crack some jokes a little bit easier in spring. They're a little easier to laugh. It's a little less threatening environment. So it may actually help you with zero tolerance when you get back into the regular season by building those rapport during the spring.
We talk about rapport all the time, and that is critical. And, unfortunately for the newer officials that are coming in and just getting started, they're also working at the games where the coaches have less experience, and you're not going to see those same people day in and day out. And it makes it tougher for them. It's a little tougher for the newer officials, I think. For the veteran officials that are working the higher levels of hockey, you're seeing the same people. Yes, they're in a little bit more of a chilled mood. If the game's on the line, they all want to win. Let's not kid ourselves. You pick and choose, you don't pick and choose. But either way, it's easier for the guys that have been around and do have that rapport. So highly recommend that you guys work on that. It's a good time to do that this time of year. But, again, we don't have – a lot of the organizations aren't playing. We don't really have Tier 2 playing. We don't really have Tier 1 playing unless you see them at a tournament. That's about the only time you're going to see some of those teams. They practice and they do tournaments, and that's all they do. So for the most part, it's what, high schools, JV and varsity for the spring league? I don't know. Does House League have? Yeah. House League probably continues.
Tier 3 does. Yeah, Tier 3 does because they're still trying to get new people into the fall season. So they continue, with learn to skates and stuff like that, which transfers right over into, Tier 3 hockey, which, there isn't as much Tier 3 hockey as there used to be. Even when I started refereeing, there was a lot more Tier 3 hockey. Now there's pretty much Tier 1 high school and Tier 2. So it's just one of those places. There's more games, like you said, during the spring. It is a good place to learn Tier 3 hockey. You do see some of the more coaches that are parents So you have to remember that. It can be more challenging. During spring, you may not have, that scorekeeper that you get all season for high schools, which can make your life more challenging.
That's something we should really touch on. I don't think everybody understands the importance of having an actual scorekeeper, back there behind the glass. For referees, it is not a lot of fun when you don't have somebody that can do what they need to do to make your game go smoother. I think a lot of times we don't give enough credit maybe to the scorekeepers that are actually good at it, that pay attention to certain things, because, they are minor officials, and I don't think everybody always realizes that. If they go back there and they're keeping score, I don't think they realize, look, you're a minor official on that game. We try to hold you to a little bit higher standard. Again, that goes back to the zero tolerance situation. It's zero tolerance for the people that go in the box. If there's a problem in the penalty box, the scorekeeper should notify the referees or officials right away, because, it's zero tolerance for them. If they're getting a lot of lip back there, they shouldn't be. So,
right.
Another part to touch on.
They're also kind of like your first line of defense, too, when players are accosting each other in a zero tolerance way. It's supposed to be respect for everybody. That includes your opponent. The scorekeepers can really help you out by getting your attention, getting you over there, and hopefully you can diffuse those situations, because I have seen over the years, players do go through those boxes. If they have two openings on each side, guess what happens? It does happen. We're not immune to it. Yep. The first penalty bench, it didn't take them a real long time. It was one bench in the NHL to figure out that this wasn't going to work out when you're putting two guys real mad next to each other.
It'd be a lot cheaper if we just put one seat in there. Okay, we'll put one bench in there. It'll save a few bucks.
Idea. And two, scorekeepers and stuff can be a zero tolerance to where you have slurs. And, the slurs and stuff that are going on in society appall me, number one. It's crazy. But number two, the frequency that it happens is even more crazy. But those things build on top of each other when they go unheard. But guess what? If a scorekeeper heard it, they're a minor official. Guess what? You can eject that player at that point.
Yep.
So, heed caution, of course. But
use good common sense before you start tossing everybody out in that situation.
Right.
Know who the scorekeepers are. Know that you've worked with them, that you trust them, or whatever. Because a lot of times you have parents back there, and not just saying it's a little different. But if you have a real scorekeeper back there and something goes down, you could probably trust that it's pretty accurate. So.
We had a game over the weekend. It was a high school varsity spring game, and after the first period, the nice lady that was doing the score sheet, on the iPad goes, "They don't have the right team on here for the other team," and I'm like, "Well, you're in the right game, right?" She's like, "Yeah, but the wrong team's loaded in here. None of their numbers are coming up," and I'm like, "I bet you anything they're wearing spring numbers, because they have guys come in. They just uploaded what they had from the regular season." I go, they're probably just different. So, but you know what? I'm not going to lie, that she gave us that heads up. At least we knew about it. So if there was an issue at the end, we had it. And then guess what? She was Johnny on the spot, though. She had her loose leaf paper out, and she was writing down the player numbers and the offenses so that she could go back to it. So you know what? We thanked her profusely at the end of it, because all we had to do was skate over to the coaches and go, "Can you just give us this name?" And the coaches were able to supply us with the names right away. So, bravo to her. And you know what? That type of thing there goes a long way if you're refereeing 3-4 games in a row, or the rink is stacked up all day. It goes a long way that you don't have to be out there any longer. So
that's right.
I appreciate it. It was good for us. It worked out. It was a win.
Yeah.
So I'll
Take
say
those
that 100%.
Where you can get them. Absolutely.
Yep.
I know we had a game the other night, and there's a player that's suspended for 10 games. He's not showing up on the sheet at all, so there's no way to even get his suspensions in there. So for those of you that are using the iPad, that's where on the page where the officials are listed, there's referee notes, and you can.
Yep.
In most cases, I do audio notes, but this one wouldn't allow me. They probably had the microphone turned off, or I wasn't going to go through the settings. But you can just type the notes in, and it requires you to put your name in whoever's putting the note in there, so that, you know, the notes will be accurate as to who put that in and what's being said. So good idea to know how to do that. If you haven't done that before, it's a great little tool, and I use it quite frequently when I'm out there.
Yeah, in those notes too, like when you put them in there, they are like, so you can go pull up like public records of the games. Those notes aren't actually listed on the public records. They're listed on the league records that the league get.
Oh, good to know.
So just so you know. So, I mean, I wouldn't put anything too crazy in there, you know, but, you know, you could put, you know, some verbatim if you chose to, if somebody used a slur or something, you know, but remember, it's one of those things.
I didn't know they could access it that way, that there's a public way to get it, because I thought you needed a password or something to get in there. That's good to know as well.
Yeah,
I used it just, you know, I put in like the guy's number, you know, he's serving one of 10 games. He had a 10-game suspension.
Yeah.
But he, you know, the guy that told me about it is like, well, I'm the one that suspended him. I'm on rules and ethics, so I know. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, that's cool. You know what's going on. I'll just put a note in here. Everybody will have it. He served one game, you know, one of 10, which is pretty much his whole spring season. So not sure what that was all about, but hey, happy to help in that situation.
I'm going with it was probably some sort of zero tolerance violation, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably. Which takes us back to our topic. So do you want to elaborate on the zero tolerance and what USA Hockey is talking about and what AHI has been talking about? Because we have had a lot of memos and posts and things of that nature with regard to that. So I'm going to let you talk about this, and then I'll chime in.
I mean, USA is going to continue on their path of humanizing the officials. Also, it's become kind of apparent that the officials are starting to need a little zero tolerance correction, which seems to be the opposite of which way normally the referees have been going. You know, it's not just in the locals. It did happen at the higher ODP junior level in some very prominent leagues. They did issue out an email stating that if you guys were going to keep treating the game with disrespect, guess what? You won't be here anymore. And that's kind of what the take is on a lot of this. We've had officials that unfortunately are not using their heads when they're speaking, and on top of it, it's not like where they're using their heads and they're saying it to like a coach in a one-on-one conversation, or, you know, they're screaming this stuff across the ice. And I don't care who you are. If I'm reffing with you, I'm probably going to tell you to knock it off. That's number one that's going to happen there. You know, I would do that years ago, so that wouldn't be anything that would change for me. But number two, just, you know, if you go back and watch a video of yourself and you're doing that, how do you think that looks to yourself even? I mean, you know, I think a lot of this stuff is, you know, if you wouldn't want your normal employer to see it, you probably shouldn't react that way in a hockey game. Or your grandmother. Let's make it one more.
Yeah, it's always
further.
The grandmother. If you had your grandmother in the car, how would this go?
If you had your exactly. So, you know, like, and I'm not saying the officials aren't being pushed to that. I know that officials are exhausted. I get that. Also, you know, it seems to be every game that we're on, there is some sort of complaint. It doesn't really matter what game it is anymore. Like, we could go out and referee, and you could get 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't have any issues. Now it's 9 times out of 10 you have an issue, and that one time there isn't an issue. And I think, you know, a lot of the stuff that's going on is, you know, the officials' staff has been significantly hurt from COVID. We still haven't been able to move officials up to those ranks or get them the experience that they need. And the abuse is just rampant. And that's going to be a cultural shock to a lot of people, because a lot of the organizations are going to be looking at how they can change these things. I know that our locals working on some stuff. They haven't made it official yet. Neither has USA Hockey. I'm sure we'll hear more to come in the next couple months. But season's right around the corner, but it's still far enough away that people can still plan and keep working on stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as far as like abuse from the stands, I still say if you're going to toss the parent, the player goes with him. I think that would stop it, Scott, real quick, at least from that standpoint.
I think one of the big things is, too, is when referees throw out the parents, 90% of the time they don't report it. And there's nothing anybody can do about it if you just fail to do the paperwork. And the paperwork all takes less than a couple minutes.
You know, I will tell you, I had a situation during the past season. I think we were there for a squirt game and a Bantam game. Okay. You know where the problem happened, right? In the squirt game, of course. Mm-hmm. You know, 10 minutes into the game and somebody got checked that wasn't supposed to. Partner called the penalty right away. Parent snapped, lost his mind, sent the parent out. Bye. And nobody would claim him. Went over to one team, four team officials on the bench. We don't know him. Mm-hmm. Never seen him. Okay, cool. Go down to the other bench. 2 team officials on the bench with you. Nope. Don't know who he is. Oh, okay. Well, we got a couple more in the penalty box. Let's go to the penalty box and see if anybody knows who this is. Nope. Don't know him. So the guy just showed up with his wife to watch a squirt game, huh? Yeah. Okay.
He did. Yeah. Uncle Jimmy.
Yeah, of course.
Uncle Jimmy was there.
Yeah. And this is a problem. I mean, if the teams won't even fess up, like, who's doing this? You can't write a report in that situation. All you can do is send them packing.
No, you can still write up the report because they generally do 9 times out of 10 figure out who that person was from the parents that were in the stands. Because guess what? Jimmy, we'll call him Jimmy, Uncle Jimmy.
Yeah, Uncle
Jimmy.
Probably
isn't liked by a couple parents that are sitting up in that stands.
Probably
that are on his own team.
They're waiting. We can get him now.
Guess what?
Been waiting to get Uncle Jimmy.
They do. It happens. Like if you have any interesting altercations with a parent or something that you're a parent, guess what? They're waiting to step on you. And guess what? It still gets found out, and you'd be shocked how fast it gets turned around, especially when a video gets sent and that person's wearing team stuff, and you got to figure this out. Somebody's going to step up and let you know who it is. Whether or not the 4 on the bench do, that's their thing. Guess the next thing is, though, too, if the people on the bench won't claim their parents and it becomes a pattern, there's issues for that, too. Yeah. So, however they'd like to do it.
I'll never forget, a couple years ago, it was a spring league tournament, and some parent was just loud and obnoxious, like, went on and on and on. Finally went over and addressed it. Warned again. I got a round of applause. I got like a standing ovation from the people. They were so tired of this guy running his mouth the whole day that they were actually happy somebody went over and like addressed the issue. So,
yeah, because they don't want to because they're scared of him.
Yeah, probably. He's a bully.
Well, that's one of those things. It's like I had a coach during the season last year or a couple years ago now, I think already, and he got benched at the beginning of his game, and at the end of the game, parents from his own club coming down. It's like 3/4 of the way through the season. Thank you for benching him. Why? Because we can't stand him. This is how he's been all season, and nobody's benching him.
Wow.
So this was a higher level game.
It's not easy. I was at a rink, and one of the hockey directors was coaching a team. U18s. That game ended. Some parent made a beeline from the stands, yelling at that guy, "My son only played 4 minutes and 57 seconds in the first period." Oh, and he was hot to trot.
He had the new live bar.
I walked out of there. I was like this. I couldn't hold back because, like, wow, somebody else is getting yelled at for something. It's like, wow, all right.
Yeah, well,
didn't play enough ice time in the first period. Okay, house league game, U18 house league.
Well, the new live barn, Scott, if you want to pay for it, I think it's an enhanced feature for $25. It tracks your player's time on the ice for you, baby. So you don't even have to sit there with the stopwatch anymore. Throw away that 99-cent thing. Get the computer to do it. Get your kid's number popped out. You can harass your own coach for no apparent reason other than your kid was out there less than
12 seconds on that minute-and-a-half power play. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he let up 3 goals while he was out there for the 4 minutes that he played, so maybe that could be why he wasn't out there too long.
Yeah, and there were only 4 shots, too.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I get it. All right. Well,
No,
the other, I guess the big point that we wanted to make too with regard to, discussing zero tolerance is that it does go both ways. And you covered a little bit about that, but,
you take the rest.
referees, officials need to be mindful of that and, try to keep things at a more professional level, keep things as calm as you can, obviously, under some intense situations. But it's just good advice, something to keep in the back of your mind when you guys are doing these games, or girls, whatever the case may be. And just keep that thought. Keep the thought.
Scott, I always try to say, when you're refereeing a hockey game, you're kind of dealing with the same people that the police have to deal with every day. So, I'm glad there's peace officers out there, okay? I can't say enough about them. Not going to get into a rant about that. But they have to deal with this stuff every day, and they have to somehow control themselves because they're dealing with a different kind of person as well. We're dealing with an upset hockey person. The people that they're dealing with could be upset about God only knows what, be on whatever substance. So they have to do that every day, and I think if we could say they can do it, I think referees can do it too, to be honest with you. Especially in ice hockey. It's supposed to be a gentleman's game. The next thing is, if they want to come out on the ice and chase you, guess what? You're wearing skates. They're in shoes.
Come on out. Come on out. It'll be another chuckle. Get a good laugh out of that one.
But that's just one of the things.
Can you guys turn your cameras on him, please? No, we got live barn. We'll have a good chuckle. We'll see how much ice time he gets. Put his number in before he gets on.
Get him on the live barn. But you know what I'm saying though, Scott. Like if they can do it, I think referees at an amateur hockey level can do it. And that's just the one thing I'd say.
It is an emotional game, and if you do have to have words with somebody, it doesn't have to be for the whole building to hear it. You can just go right over to the person and talk to them if you need to. Coaches love to talk, that. For the most part, they love to talk to referees. So I'm sure they'd be happy to have that conversation. But, just do yourself a favor. If you're going to have any kind of conversation with a coach, don't let him do it from standing up above like he's towering over you and, owning you at the moment. It doesn't look like you're going to be winning that argument. Even if it's not even an argument, It just looks like you're on the losing side of things. Even if you're just going, hey, did you see the eclipse today? And he's standing over you. Yeah, I saw it.
It's like David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
I get you.
Get them to come down. Ask them to come down. Go to the other end of the bench so they have to walk over there, get on the same level.
They can calm down.
Yeah, this is just really good advice, everybody. This is stuff we've been taught over the years and how to deal in situations like that to try to, keep it calm and de-escalate the situation. That's a good term for it. But good advice, everybody. All right, what else you got for us today?
That's all I got. The only one thing I do want to put out here is we did have nationals finish up.
Yeah, I saw a mission team with a victory picture on Facebook. So
since we did have a couple Chicago teams there, U15 missions, they ended up winning, and then
is that Gino's team? Has Gino got the 15s or does he have the 14s?
Yes, he has the 15s after his coach was hired to New York. I think that's who sniped their coach. New York, Vancouver.
So he's the skating coach that went to New York, right? The one we're referring to?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. And then the women's U14 mission 1 as well. And
nice.
Then tier 2, the U16 Orland Park Vikings won.
Oh wow,
Dallas.
Good for them.
So that's
Congrats.
tier 2. So
that's awesome.
We had some teams, but we also did have one other in our district. And that was the Sioux City Metros. They won the second high school division. So at least our district won the second division state championship or national championship for high school 2 years in a row. We had Prep win last year, and now Iowa won this year. So it's kind of nice.
I'm kind of surprised that we don't have more national champions coming out of Chicago with all the great hockey we have. I mean,
it's hard. It's hard to get there, baby.
I know. But, we just have some really good talent here. You would expect that we would probably have more national champions than just 3 teams or 4 teams. But Anyway.
It's unfortunately hard to get there, and you know what? It's also a pool play, and then when you come out, it's a 1-game elimination, and anything can happen in a 1-game elimination.
Yeah.
Just like in the NHL, when they get to that game 7, it's up in the air.
Absolutely.
You don't want it to go 7 games. You want that thing over in 6.
Yeah, for sure. But, it's game 7. It's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to make it kind of short today because, we're in the off season for the most part. I mean, it's spring, not much going on yet, but we did want to cover this and hope you guys got something from it, something to keep at least in the back of your mind when you're working your games. Take advantage of the spring, work on things. Now is a really good time if you want to work on your skating, you want to work on, positioning, things of that nature. These are really good opportunities to use. To take advantage of that time out there, when you're still working at a decent level game, to be able to try doing some things a little differently or how you handle situations. This is the time to do it, folks. I mean, you got some tournaments coming up. We got some good games that'll be in town here in the next couple weeks. It'll be busy, and we'll have lots to talk about and lots to share at that point, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you know what? Everybody, I think the older guard would share me in saying this is spend some time with that family that you've been neglecting. They are still there. They do live with you. They do appreciate, buying great Christmas gifts and all that stuff. But, they want you to be there for them.
I don't know about you. I need to be skating. Like, we had like that break for a couple weeks, and I'm still skating, but you go 3 or 4 days without skating. Like, I don't even feel good. Like, I don't feel as good unless I'm out on the ice. Like, I need that exercise. So, I like to be out there. I still want to be skating even in the summer a few times, at least a few times a week. I feel like, you just need that. You don't want to lose your edge work. You don't want to lose your speed.
That depletes every day. So don't even. Yeah, everybody's on the same spectrum. Eventually, we all end up down here. Okay. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. Age tells us when we can't play anymore, and so do our bodies sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's unfortunate that these things happen, but it does happen to everybody. So you're not alone.
Right. You lost some of your skills. You lost some of your speed, Brad.
I could tell you when I didn't skate for how many months for COVID. I know I didn't come back nearly as fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes time. I mean, when I came off my injury, it takes a while to get back to speed. It just does. Interesting, but it's the way it works. All right, guys. With that, have a great week. Are we on next week or are we off? I can't remember because we're going to be going to like every other week now. So have we started?
I know we did this with a I know we did this with a calendar.
Yeah, I know.
So we're off next week, and we're on the week after.
Yeah, Alex Crowed for checking in with scorekeepers. Somebody else said nice merch. Yeah, if you can't see, I got the ref room shirt on. Let me get this thing out of the way here so we can see it. There we go. Got the ref room T-shirt on. If you like these and you want to get, we also have. I don't have the coffee mug in front of me, but they're basically like this. This is the hot. I have to cover my eyes for this to work. There we go.
There it goes.
It comes into focus as soon as you turn your eyes or get your eyes off. You can get this with a ref room on it, and you can actually get these if you watch my Twitch show, which is on twitch.tv/hotmix5. That's like this hot mix 5. We got a merchandise store up there. You can check it out. So it'll be on tonight, starting at 8:00 Chicago time. Maybe a little earlier, actually. So stop by.
Go out and enjoy the weather.
Love to have you guys come visit. Now, Mondays until we switch. We're going to be moving the show to Wednesdays, and I'm going to move my Twitch show to Wednesday nights. So I can't take 2 nights off to do all this stuff. I got to do it all in one. So we'll have that coming up. So anyway, T-shirts, mugs up there in the merchandise store.
And you know what? I'm glad you wore it because I forgot that we had the T-shirt. Yeah. that was going to be happening. I forgot about that. So
yeah. So it's all good. All right, guys. With that, have a great week. We will see you next week or the following week. We'll send out the notification.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
2
2
weeks.
All right. With that, peace out, everybody. Take care of yourself, and I hope you had a great eclipse day. All right. We'll see you.